And welcome back again, ladies and gentlemen, to The View from Here, Behind Enemy Lines. We are talking here to the Gnarly girls, who
Yes.
was supposed to be on a few weeks ago, but we haven't been able to connect. And now we finally got them on, and we're going to have what I hope to be a very interesting conversation. Anyway, I hope that we made you feel welcome.
Or at least realize how much of a fool both of us are.
Yes, that too.
So happy to have you here. My name is Michael.
Oh, I like your setup. You got a what do you call it? A gravity seat? Is that what's it called for the back?
For the back, yeah.
Cool, nice. I could use that. Yeah, I've got two. I had to go to physical therapy for a while because I have two vertebrae where the thing, the middle is coming out, just protruding a little bit. And I asked the therapist. I said, "Are they ever going to go back?" And he goes, "Once the cream's out of the donut, forget it."
This is proof. This is proof that we're both over 70. We're talking about our physical conditions. So, ladies,
I'm not going to show you my scars. I got 14 of them, by the way, from
I don't
various things, accidents, all kinds of things.
I don't work. So,
tell
ladies,
us about yourselves. Let's start that. Go ahead. Whoever wants to start.
All right, I'll go first. I'm Tony. I'm a stand-up comic and I'm a content creator. I've been making political videos for about 15 years for the internet. And I talk about my body problems all the time. So I do not think that a hurting body is just reserved for those who are in their golden years.
He's got an old man's mentality. That's why. Don't worry about it.
Maybe you're like Lao Tzu. You were born 84 years old.
I have a very old soul. I have a dinosaur DNA inside of me. If dinosaurs are real, I'm not convinced that they're not dragons.
I was born 800 years old. I too am an old soul, and I too am always talking about my body pain. I'm a performance artist. I dance a lot, so my body is constantly in pain. I'm a yoga teacher and a somatic practitioner as well, so I'm very interested in your pain. I hope your spine is doing better. I want to do some energy work on your spine during this podcast, which I will do. And I also am a coach. I own a business. I'm a witch of many wands.
Okay, very good. Yeah. So you're into Wiccan?
I respect Wiccan. I am not one to subscribe to any group or religion. I am a true anarchist through and through. I believe in spiritual freedom.
Independent.
Yeah.
That's hey, it all starts at your feet.
It's true.
Very good.
So what got you into this? How did you guys get together? Do you live close to each other? Where in the world are you? You don't have to give me an address or a city even. Just, state would be enough.
No, you wouldn't have to.
I'm just going to tell you exactly my home address for any stalkers that are listening. I am on the East Coast. So is Sarah. I'm in New Hampshire. She and I met at a festival where I was performing, and we then got together and wrote a show that we have been performing for the last year and a half called Grape Culture, which examines rape culture in society. So it's not just about one person's story or how one person is victimized, but how we basically are all experiencing an incredibly grapey culture when it comes to politics, capitalism, the military industrial complex, prison industrial complex, medical industrial complex. And so the way that we treat each other in the microcosm is just a reflection of the macro grape culture that has penetrated all of our psyches. So that's
last week. I did listen to an episode that on Apple Podcasts where you did talk about. I think the site had Grape Culture in the title. That was the only one I was able to listen to. I've been very busy the last couple of weeks, running around a lot.
I have in common that I used to have property up in New Hampshire, in Ackworth, New Hampshire. Love the state. Love it. It's gorgeous up there. Even met the governor. There was a flood, and he showed up on one of the rivers, and I was asking one of the entourage, "Who is that guy?" He said, "That's the governor." I said, "Why is he here?" He said, "Because of the flood." I said, "Really? That was cool."
Yeah, that is cool. He was being a man of the people in that one moment.
Sure.
Live free or die, New Hampshire. I'm in upstate New York, and I was actually a super fan girl of Tony. And so I introduced myself to her when she was performing at this festival where I live. And from there, we just fell fast in love, and now we're art wives.
Okay.
Cool.
We both also have husbands, but you know.
Oh, that's a disappointment. Well, my girlfriend would be happy to hear that.
They're being entertained this evening. The thing is that I know you do stand up. I know the videos that I've watched. Some of the videos that you've done. Some of them are hysterical. Like I especially like the survival girlfriend. I couldn't stop laughing. I thought because some people who don't know any better think that I'm a survivalist because I'm into some of that stuff, outdoorsy stuff. So they think immediately a survivalist. But when I saw that, because I actually know survivalists, that's why I was up in New Hampshire for a while, and that video, it just cracked me up. And I said that was brilliant. Nobody's ever considered that. I thought that was very original. That was a lot of fun.
Glad that's one of my favorites as well, because I also am part survival man. So I'm like, I resonate deeply with this character. I think there's a lot of characters that I'm making that I am just truly making fun of my own inner self, my own embodiment practice, which is mostly a man. Even though I have braids and have tits, I am coming at it from a masculine perspective in life most of the time.
Tony says her inner child is a 40-year-old man.
Well, I hope he can escape and become himself.
Me too.
The thing is that I've always felt. Did you ever read Carlos Castaneda, the stories of Don Juan?
No, but I know of it. Yeah.
Okay. One of the things that he talks about is, I hope I'm not making this serious, but one of the things that he talks about is the fact that the strength of an individual getting in balance with the opposite sexuality of himself, like the male finding space for his female self and the female finding space for her male self. So you're joking, but I think you're speaking truth.
No, I actually wrote a show called Men Come Inside of Me, which is one of my touring shows, but it's about the men who are inside of me. So it's looking at this like assumption of quote unquote toxic masculinity, and how this is just kind of a program that certain people are judging, but how do we all have a quote unquote toxic man inside of us? And what does that really even mean within the context of our conditioning and the pressure of gender?
That's why I choose not to go to jail, because I never want a toxic man inside of me.
It's a good reason to stay above the boards.
I think that everyone probably has men and women inside of them, because I think it relates to. I do believe in reincarnation. Okay, I mean, I was raised Catholic. I'm a Latin Catholic. I do believe in Jesus. I'm spiritual, not religious. But I do believe. Oh my God, who's calling me from San Francisco?
Unless it's
Scott Adams, I wouldn't care.
It's Jesus.
What was I saying? Anyway, I believe in reincarnation. I do believe that we have lived other lives. In fact, back 40 years ago, 2 weeks ago, I had a head-on collision, and the first few days they couldn't give me any painkillers because I had a bad concussion. So I was just hallucinating all over the place. I was a Roman warrior. I was in World War II. I don't remember what battle. I was a pirate, and there was a few other things. I don't know. Could be that my mind tapped into my past lives. Could be my mind just hallucinated, because that's the way the mind deals with pain when you can't deal with it, with medications or anything else.
Well, I think that pain is a transcending opportunity, which is why so many different cultures like induce pain states in order to spiritually evolve. So I personally wouldn't think that your hallucinations were random, but more an opportunity the pain was giving you to have this like profound insight into these past lives. And I have done a past life regression, and I know everyone is always like, I was Cleopatra, or like I was Abraham Lincoln. My past lives were fucking garbage. I was like, I was burned at the stake. I was in like a town that was like pillaged, and then I was the one they blamed. Like my past life sucked. I was like,
I was a footman for King George.
I did some special training, and I discovered 3 of my past lives. One, I was 5 years old. One I was 15 years old, and one I was 22.
Wow.
We're all past lives.
Yeah.
And
I used
perhaps-
to sometimes years ago. I used to approach women and say, I'm really a woman trapped in a man's body. Huh? I used to approach lesbians with that, but it never worked. Never worked. Only lipstick lesbians, by the way.
Uh,
Not the
Lipstick
bull.
lesbian. I love lipstick. I mean, I feel like when it comes to past lives, this is something I think about a lot. It's like it's really parallel timelines. Like if it's all just now and happening at the same time, then
Yes.
like our consciousness and like atomic structure spread across these timelines. And when we do these regressions and start to think about ourselves as these multidimensional creatures, I think that is how we start to divest from systems of oppression and control, which I feel like we're all very aligned here on not being into control.
well, here's the thing. The idea of internal thought forms is an old teaching. The power animals and so forth like that. Now the thing is, I studied Native Americanism, and I studied and still pursue the concepts of power animals. And the thing is that I don't think it's necessary for any of these concepts to manifest or be validated by what is called the real world. I think what's essential is to ask the question, what does it mean to you? Is this a meaningful construct inside your own behavioral patterns, behind your own thinking? And if so, what is it trying to tell you? Because the power animals that are associated with me, the whole presumption is that there's an affiliation with the super spirit of that particular animal group. And the thing is, does that actually have to happen in order for me to acknowledge that I have an affinity towards what I believe this animal to be, and have a relationship with a construct that may or may not be my own?
Totally. I
I'm
love
digging
hearing
the
it.
metaphysical representation because I think that the materialist worldview, this Cartesian worldview that has been just like pushed down our throats for most of science, most of education, is part of the psyop around our imagination, our intuition, and makes us easier to control. So anyone that's investigating the metaphysical is a friend of mine. Also, I am so curious what these animals are. Are any of them a snake?
Well, okay, here's the thing.
You're a what? Snake, you said?
Snake.
Well, here's the thing. One of them is an alligator.
I thought alligator too. I was thinking alligator or snake.
But the funny thing is, if you study shamanic teachings, the alligator is actually the equivalent of the dragon in Chinese shamanism. So these things it's kind of like the idea of the trickster. The tricksters manifest in many different stories. As a matter of fact, you have contact with these ladies, right, Roy?
No,
I would like to.
only by email.
Yes,
I
I
would
would
love to have more, but I don't. Only by email.
I would like to email you both.
I'm sorry. I'm a natural flirt. My ex-wife, my ex-girlfriend, have also told me you flirt without even thinking about it. You don't even know you're flirting. So I apologize.
I would like to send you.
I don't think you two are easily offended, but just to be on the safe side, you're our guest. So sorry.
It's almost impossible to offend me.
That's what I thought, but you never know in these days.
I do have.
Mike and I are very, shall we say, politically incorrect.
So are we.
Depends on who's
Yeah, I
listening.
thought so too. So
I mean, the thing is that what I
you
like
can take a joke, basically.
about this conversation is the fact that I think we are four different lighthouses and we all see each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so but what I'm trying to tell you is I wrote a book called 7 Stories Like Thunder, and it has not been published. But if you're interested, I'll pass a copy on to Roy, and he can email you the PDF.
Well, I love that you're a dragon because I also identify as a dragon.
Well, in my past life, I did have a more intimate relationship with that symbol. My name was Urasis Dragon. I'm sorry. I had to tell that joke as just
No, your ass's dragon is a sick name. Yeah.
Sounds like a healthy
Mine was my Yoni's a dragon.
that was one of my D&D characters, by the way.
I am also dragon spirit. Dragon spirits they're very not easily offended. They fucking breathe fire for a living, and they have the ability to rise from anything. Like from the ash, from the rubble. I think like people who are interested in shamanism and some of these like metamorphic spiritual teachings resonate with the dragon, because the dragon has to constantly remake itself. And then it's also been judged. It's also been buried. Like Tony said, it's been called the dinosaurs. Were they dragons? So it's giving black sheep energy. And Tony and I also embody the trickster.
Right.
We love the trickster.
Well, actually, there's my trickster right there.
Ah.
I love that. That's a sick tat, honestly. I might cop that. I might need to get a black sheep tramp stamp. I feel like that would translate well.
Well, the reason why I have that is I lived in Nevada for 2.5 years in the desert, and I never wanted to forget that. So I put that there. And then there was this excellent movie called Iceman with Timothy Bottoms, where there is a Cro-Magnon man that they get out of the ice and they bring him to life. And in the process, that ancient person is trying to integrate with the world, and it just doesn't fly. At the end, he manages in his own way to have victory, in the same way that the gods must be crazy. Great movie, and it's interesting the perspectives that they play.
I feel bad. I'm the only one who doesn't know what my spirit animal is. If you guys could point me to somewhere where I could find that out.
I'll get my animal deck. I'll let you know at the end of the call. I'll pull a card for you.
Oh, cool.
I'm thinking turtle. I'm going with turtle.
If you really want to know,
Turtle? Why?
ways to do it is to go on a spiritual journey, and you go below, which is representative of the earth, and that is where you will find your power animals, and they will approach you and become.
Wait. I go where to do this? I'm sorry.
You do it,
I was watching Serafina shuffle, and I wasn't paying attention to you. Sorry.
There's a Native American teaching which is very organic, which is it's called a journey, and a journey is a metaphorical dive into your symbol base.
Okay.
And in that process, what you're doing is you're allowing yourself to be, in a sense, be led by your other aspects of yourself.
Uh-huh.
You know, the part that you're trying to connect with, because there unfortunately, or fortunately, we're vast spirits, and there's so much of us, and the subconscious and all that stuff. So exploring that and finding out what your symbols mean to you, and what your relationships with what can be called as spirits, I essentially see them as thought forms. You know,
well, does this journey involve any hallucinogens?
No, but in some cultures it does.
All right. No, I know. That's why I asked.
If ever you want to, we can do it. I can lead you on a journey.
You guys should do this. I will tell you. You're gonna be. I kind of feel like I should just tell you your card now, so you can feel connected to it. Can I tell you?
Whoop.
I pulled the Cobra for you, which feels like affirmative of also your like reptile dragon self. Like we are all dragons. We are dragons amongst dragons. The Cobra is also like a teacher. It's like a wise teacher who's able to kind of like survey the land.
You guys were searching for a snake spirit before.
I know. I've been saying.
I also saw a snake before she said it. So, and snake is like awakening, spiritual awakening, transformation.
This is going to creep some people out. I also have a cockroach.
A cockroach energy. Yeah, my brother's cockroach energy.
But the thing is,
I think he means a real cockroach. He had mice, but he got rid of them.
Yeah, that's why I associate with Roy, so I have somebody to relate to. So anyway, that'll teach you little bastard. Anyway, the thing is that it is it's not truly a spirit animal as much as it is a guardian spirit.
Mm.
So there's a lot going on.
No, I
also call in the maggots a lot. But I like, and personally, I'm repulsed by a maggot, but the maggot is such an important part of composting. that I'm always like calling in the maggots to help me compost my emotions, anything that needs to be composted.
I have a maggot story for you.
Curiously, maggots can also heal wounds, by the way. Go ahead.
Right. They could also run for Congress. But anyway, the thing is, it doesn't matter what side you're on. There's always a maggot on the other side.
Always a maggot.
So anyway, here's the thing. I was out in the woods, okay, up in New York at Faro Lake, which is up in the Adirondacks. So I was there, and I was by myself, and it was sunset, and I was just sitting out there looking around, and I see this maggot walking across, and it's all wet and gooey and all this other stuff, and I'm going, that's fucking disgusting. And then I went ahead, I turned my head, and I looked around and everything to find something more appropriate to watch. I turned, and at that point, because the sunset hit the maggot at the right angle, I could see through it.
Oh.
And it was now illuminated in golden light. And you could see the little stomach and the little thing that goes to the mouth and stuff like that. And it was beautiful. So the thing is that a maggot is only ugly in the wrong light.
Well, maybe
in
your past life. I'm sorry. Maybe in your past life you were Superman. You were using X-ray vision to see through it. I don't know. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Tony. Go ahead.
Also, one maggot is more digestible than like usually. It's like maggots come with a crew, and it's the multiple. Even
We
like
have a lot of friends. Yes.
Ladybugs fuck my shit up. If I saw I once went to a butterfly, the butterfly container museum, and there's all these butterflies, and I'm like, I was like, get these fucking butterflies away from me. It was a horror show.
Why?
Sounds like a Sopranos episode. Yo, I got all my maggots with me, man.
I roll maggot deep.
Yeah. Hey, my maggot.
Maybe MAGA should just become the maggots, and they would get more followers.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on what sect you belong to.
It's true. It's true.
But punishment
Are
coming.
you on the insect or are you on the outsect?
Uh,
okay. I thought that was going to be really bad. I'm glad that they smiled at least.
Yeah. Wow, this interview, I was really not sure how it was going to go, and it is so organic. I love it.
We're some organic.
I think, for some reason, we've been lucky with all our guests because it seems, I don't know if it's our relaxed attitude or what, but you guys are very relaxed, and it's easy to talk to you. And we try and make it easy. Well, we don't even try and make it easy to talk to people. We just are ourselves, and we let things happen, as they happen. Wherever the conversation goes, it goes.
I'm not myself. I'm always putting on a show. I'm actually
today. You're Jungle Jim. Come on.
I love the fit. I think I need to put on my cowboy hat. Hold on.
I do have a cowboy hat.
The reason why I'm wearing this hat is because see 7 Stories Like Thunder.
Yeah.
That's the book I was talking about. Story inspired by Native American teachings. So each story is an experience that a teaching of a quasi-teaching, inspired by a quasi-teaching of the Native American power animals and so forth like that. There's a deer, there's a couple of other things, and it's done in a it's like a fable. So the thing is that since we're talking about this, and I have a feeling you guys would actually like my stories, I'd like to send a copy to you.
No, we love a story. I mean, I am a storyteller. Sarah's a storyteller because I think the whole point of story is to get people to identify with a narrative that's beyond their like small scope of personality or experience. Because that's something that I keep kind of rubbing up against in my social media world is just how people are so close-minded within their own ecosystem. And it's like, this is my opinion. This is my experience. These are my thoughts. And there's such a lack of empathy and curiosity about another way of seeing the world or another way of viewing society. And I think that is the true poison that's happening right now. It's just like a complete lack of curiosity. And so story is, to me, the medicine for that because it gets people out of their ego and then gives them the opportunity to have like compassion. However, it's almost like the medicine of compassion through entertainment of story.
Yeah.
I do think that one of the reasons why people are rigid in their view is that they're afraid to be wrong. And the thing is that fear drives most of these negative emotions. So if you can get them, my father used to say that basically work for a distraction. You know, in other words, if you can distract somebody, you can get them out of their hole. You know, so that's also a acupressure teaching where you're the way that you can change the meridians in the energy field is by distracting the person, and that affects their mind, leaves their irritation, and that frees that energy more.
Yeah.
It's like the classic, oh, your foot hurts? Let me hit you over the head with a frying pan. Now your head hurts.
Totally.
Yeah, that works.
No,
That definitely works.
I do energy work on people, and I kind of like take them on these like shamanic journeys, and I'll like get like a download for the visualization for them, and then I'll kind of like see their chakra system and like all the nadis and all the energy connection points. And I do find like over the years, as these like journeys have come through to just guide people on, people are so invested in the journey and the visualization of it that I then can actually like, as I'm like guiding them on the journey, I can actually work on their energy better than if I'm just working on someone who's like focused on the pain they're trying to move or whatever it is. If you can like let them like be in the medicine of story and visualizing and like using that imagery, you can actually change the energy field.
Fantastic. I like the fact that you use the term medicine, which
Yes.
a lot of people don't understand the indigenous definition of medicine, which is basically that which works.
I might interject here that Mike is an adopted Cherokee.
Oh, sick.
He had to say it.
They found him under a rock, slithering under a rock because he's such a snake, and they took him in.
I
No,
could
go ahead.
feel this in like your teaching and like what you're sharing. It's like you can feel that you're not just someone who like picked up a book and you were like, this is interesting.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to learn from the white priest of the Cherokee Nation at the time, and his name is C.J. White Deer. Is his audio on our website?
Who, CJ's?
Yeah, I should put his audio on our
didn't put
website.
anything on there. Not that I saw, anyway.
Wait,
Last
so
time I
Cherokee,
looked.
North Carolina? Appalachia.
Well, the thing is that he was living in Arizona. He came out. He's a teacher. He was a teacher, and he introduced us, those that were interested, to Cherokee teachings, and we did sweat lodges, and we did journeys, and all this other stuff. We did, various things. We learned a lot of what I would call spiritual technology, and at some point, the Northern Salagay, which were the remnants of those who escaped from the Trail of Tears, were running out of people, so they needed more people for their tribe. So they asked CJ. CJ invited myself and my friends who were learning there, and we became members of the tribe. Unfortunately, unbeknownst to me, at some point the tribe chose to disband. I had some personal problems with the group, but I still consider myself Cherokee. But the interesting thing is that yes, I was living the dream. There's an excellent movie with some folks in it. I forget the name of it right now. I think it's called Pony Soldier, and there was a number of movies that I watched when I was a kid. And what would happen is the white man would come into the West, and the guy who's really the excellent white man was the guy who actually became the blood brother. You know what I mean? Oh, he's a brother. That tribe respects him, etc., etc. So I got swept away by that. I just felt like, oh my God, I got included in a tribe, and I got swept away by it. And my ego took over, and it really bounced me all over the place. And then it took me a while to get my head and my arse wired together. I've been talking too much. We're here to interview you.
No, I'm fascinated. I'm
the ass is up top now, and
Yeah, that's a lot to recognize. Like, because we're just talking about this on our podcast, like spiritual gurus and like people spiritually taking advantage of people and like all of that and how easy it is to like let the ego take over. So, I mean, I'm very interested. Also, I'm tracking the spiritual technology. I would say my real title in the world is that I'm a higher self embodiment doula. So I studied birth doula work and somatic work. And so I was helping people deliver babies. And then I was like, wait, I actually want to help grown adult fucking people birth themselves as their higher selves, where they recognize they're fully human and fully divine. And I do feel like as adults, we go through that rebirth over and over again of just like remembering that we're sacred, remembering that we're human, remembering that the human is sacred. We don't need to exit the body. We actually need to be more in the body.
Well, I one of the things I used to do, because when I was at my peak, when I was actually surrounded by people, I would ask the individual a number of questions before I would do any work with them. Number one, I'd ask them, what is your distress? Number two, and this is the one that used to mess them up really good. Do you want it to go away? It's like nobody asked that question. Do you want it to go away? Oh, would you like me to assist you? See, I don't believe healers ultimately are responsible for the healing. I believe that it's about a reestablishment of relationship between what most people call God, the divine spirit, that which moves through all things. It's 10,000 terms for the greatness, right? The divine being, the divine essence. So that, reestablishing that relationship. And as a matter of fact, C.J. Whiteyear defined a shaman as a repairer of relationships.
I love that. Well, I also think it's acknowledging the fact that a lot of times, like what we call in as our distress or as our disease is also a protective mechanism around something we don't want to face or something that we don't want to deal with, or sometimes it's the perfect excuse to not put yourself out there. And so there is a purpose for our disease that we're not always consciously aware of. And that if we can recognize, oh, this is providing this purpose for me, but there's other ways to achieve this objective that isn't within this dis-ease or in this pain body, then I could release it. But if you don't understand what the disease is giving you or teaching you or serving you, then how are you going to let go of it? You can't let go of anything unless you fully look at it.
The very word disease, if you say it slowly, is dis-ease.
Yeah.
So anytime when a person is out of balance, in a sense, they're in the process of creating an abnormality.
And there is a purpose and there is something beyond. I think that's the thing that I talk about a lot, is that these complexities of the human body, it's not random. It's always, I think, the higher self communicating to the ego through the language of the body. And I think that responsibility can be overwhelming to people, or some people see that as victim blaming. But I see it personally as very empowering and inspiring to be like, oh, wow, like I'm doing this to me, like weird move me, but maybe I can change it. And that to me, like gives me agency, and that agency, even though responsibility comes with agency, at least I feel as if like I'm participating and I have work to do versus just like I'm some passive bystander to my own suffering.
Right. Well,
everything comes from within. Everything, that good or bad. I mean, I don't blame anybody else for the stupid choices I made in my life, and I've made quite a few. But everything bad that happened to me because of what I was feeling, what I was thinking at the time. And everything good has always happened, believe it or not, when I felt grateful for what I've had. Okay. Whenever I've not been grateful for what I've had, that's when I screw up my life. Okay. And now I'm grateful about everything, even though, okay, I got arthritis, but I'm grateful because I go to the gym and I stay in shape. I stay mobile. I'm not like sitting in a chair, unable to move. I try and fight whatever illnesses or whatever, not illnesses. Well, yeah, I guess arthritis is a disease, but I try and fight that. I'm pretty mobile, even with the pain in my back. It only bothers me really when I get up in the morning. After that, most of the time it's okay. Although I dread the thought of somebody tackling me these days. You know,
Wait,
even on grass, I wouldn't like that too much.
are you
Sorry.
taking turmeric? Are you taking turmeric? Are you
I
taking
take turmeric. Oh, I take so much
oil?
crap. I've got what oil?
Fish oil or cod liver oil?
Yeah, I've taken omega-3 for decades. I started taking turmeric a few years ago. I take ginger. I take, oh my God, I've got so many things I take. I can't even
Relatable.
remember them.
Hey, so do we.
Are
Tony
you,
has so many supplements. She has like 3 baskets on her kitchen
let's,
table.
Oh my God, I got them there too.
let's take Roy on the old shamanic route, okay? Roy, this is my suggestion to you.
What is
What you
it?
do is, before you go to sleep, imagine that the skin is glass, that you are absolutely see-through, okay? And imagine wherever your distress is black ink. And then with your mind, clean all of that black ink away. Put it in a spiritual space, which you could call Mother Earth, and allow Mother Earth to cleanse it for you. Because Mother Earth can take all the toxins necessary. And at the very end, find an illuminating golden light inside the glass structure that illuminates all of you. So this way you become a beacon of golden light. And that is one meditation that has helped.
I'm going to try that. It's
I'm
hard
gonna
for
try
me to
it too. I
meditate.
love that.
Yeah, it's hard for me to meditate. I can't completely empty my mind.
No, nobody can. That's not the point. The point is the practice. And I think the expectation that you're supposed to just sit there and be like, I am transcending all thought is like a psyop. Your mind is going to go, but eventually
yeah.
what happens is that the focus on the meditation that like is being suggested will be stronger than the chattering of your mind. So even though you might be chitter chattering with your mind, you will still be able to have another part of your consciousness be focused on this deep meditation. But you don't
Right.
have to expect the chitter chatter to ever stop, because the
Right.
chitter chatter is part of the brain feedback.
Right.
Yeah.
The mind is constantly generating. That's what it does.
Yeah.
You don't have to engage with it. You can still be aware of the chatter, but you don't have to engage with it. And the thing is, the reason why you don't have to worry about this being a meditation is because it's a dynamic meditation. Nobody's asking you to basically zone out all thoughts. That's a perfectly excellent meditation. But the fact of the matter is that dynamic meditation, I believe, is more approachable. And that is when your mind is occupied doing things. That's why a lot of times when you do meditation, you focus on breathing. Why? Because it's something you have to do anyway. So it allows your mind to feel useful without actually thinking too much.
Roy, I have a playlist of meditations. I think there's like 53 that I've recorded over the last couple of years that are like visualizations, working with the chakras and the energy body and like God energy and source energy and your higher self. I will email it to you, and you
I
can
appreciate
just
that. Thank you.
you can just
Yeah, I'm gonna try,
Meditations.
what's that? Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Is it Meditations by Marcus Aurelius you're sending me?
Okay, question for y'all. I know it's the view from here. So now that we have like your
Behind
spiritual
enemy lines. Anyway,
you
go
what?
ahead.
Behind
Behind enemy
lines,
lines.
which I love, because like I do resonate with like being this anarchist on the front lines of systems of oppression and trying to get in there and dismantle it. And I'm a girl of the Wild West, so I love that. Okay, so so now we know this about your spiritual orientation. How do you see this? Like, how do you see the world right now with all of this included and all of this spiritual everything? Like, what's your POV on everything that's happening?
Oh God.
In a nutshell, wow.
I've got. I mean, I know what I am. Say politically or regarding male female relationships and so forth, but I'm kind of eclectic insofar as I believe in certain things that science, proven science, tells me, but I also am open to spiritual and what do you call it, metaphysical things. Okay, I believe I believe there may be ghosts. What they are, I don't know what manifests ghosts. But I remember my cousin who lived with us for many years, who was my best friend. He died recently. He one time he went down soon after his grandmother his grandmother died, and my father had several businesses. One of them was a bakery, and we had in the basement we had storage in the building. And he went down there to get something, and he swore up and down that he saw his grandmother looking at him, and he didn't want to go into the basement for a while after that. But then he realized she's not there to hurt me. She loved him, and he loved her. So he was able to go down. He never saw her again, but there was something. I don't know what the occasion was, but he saw her, and he swore it was her, or an apparition of her anyway. And I've talked to other people who have seen ghosts also. I may have. Sometimes I feel like presences. I remember with my ex-girlfriend, when I started living with her, at night I was uneasy because I felt a presence behind the bed. It was catty-cornered, and I just felt that somebody was looking at me from there. And then she told me that she'd had someone come and look at the house, and apparently, supposedly, there was a spirit there that was just checking to see how things were going, and I think it was supposed to be he was satisfied how she was fixing the house up, and then stopped showing up, and I stopped feeling that. But every night for about 3-4 weeks, I felt like somebody was watching me, and it was just very uncomfortable. Yeah, but anyway, what I'm trying to say is I'm open to the metaphysical. Okay, I don't believe in astrology, but at the same time, when I read details about Taurus, especially at the time I was born, it hits right on the nose. Okay, a lot of things, not all. I mean, a lot of things are generalized, and I can see through that. But there are certain things that apply to me, and so I don't discount. I don't discount much. Okay, I'm open to everything. Let's put it that way.
Beautiful orientation.
So I don't. You what?
It's a beautiful orientation to have.
Oh, okay. I sometimes think, maybe I over rationalize things to my detriment. I don't know.
Sounds like a Taurus.
Sounds like a Taurus. I was like, a Taurus man never believes in astrology. I could have guessed that from 10 miles away.
Yeah.
You would have guessed what about the astrology?
It said a Taurus man never believes in astrology.
Oh, really?
The bull. You're the bull. You can't be bothered.
Yeah.
You just gotta.
I have been called stubborn mainly by my any woman I've been involved with has called me stubborn. This jackass here, this reptile, he calls me stubborn. Mr. Reptile, I'm sorry. Yeah. Hey, you took your Jungle Gym hat off. Yeah, I just noticed because I've been paying attention to the girls, not to you.
My son made that hat, so I wanted to wear it today.
Oh, it's a cool hat. I used to love wearing those Australian hats back in my 20s and 30s. But now I think I'd look a little ridiculous.
So, I want to twist this a little bit, okay? We've been talking about a lot of metaphysical, spiritual stuff, and that's cool. And I'll have that conversation anytime you want. The thing is that you guys are entertainers. You go on stage and so forth like that, and I've seen your stand up, Tony, and I have to admit it's very much out there in regards to being bold, but at the same time, it does have a lot of times the taste of truth on it. So when I'm not laughing, I'm crying. But anyway, the thing is that what made you start stand up, and do you still do it? Because I didn't see a lot of new stand up lately.
Yeah, no, I haven't posted a lot of stand up just because I'm about to go film an hour special, and so I just didn't want to be like throwing material out there that I'm gonna film.
No, that makes sense. Yeah,
cool. and sell. No, I still do stand up a lot. I think that stand up is a really interesting medium because what you're doing with the audience is all around misdirection. And I have been in front of audiences that, you know, on paper would be very contrary to me in terms of like what I would think our belief systems are. Like, I've been in front of an audience of 80% men who were mostly gun owners, definitely voted for the Republican Party, were not feminists, you know, just on paper, we would not particularly like think that we would connect. And there was like 170 of them. Like when I got on stage, I was like, I'm going to be burned tonight. I really was like, this might be the end of it. I might perish. And I had the best night of my life with those 170 men. So you really cannot, I think where stand-up is so interesting is in this direction. You're not asking people to be like, I need you to conform to me and my values and my beliefs, hook, line, sinker, period. It's if I was giving some TED talk or if I was offering something that was the truth and that nothing could be debated. No, I'm just sharing a perspective. And if I share that perspective within the context of a joke, whether or not you agree with me, you can laugh. There's plenty of comedians who I think are very misogynist, who I like genuinely am like, this dude is so fucking sexist. I need to have a come to goddess moment with him. But he can make an incredibly sexist joke that I will laugh at.
Right.
And that to me is alchemy. That is a certain kind of medicine because it's making me A, laugh at myself, and B, connect to someone in a way that I didn't expect. And like, that is why I think comedy is really exciting. I also like to bring elements of like clowning and performance art and audience participation. I like to pull people out of the ordinary because I think what happens is that we are stuck in social convention, and that social convention puts us to sleep spiritually. And so it's like anytime I'm in public, I will have a conversation with whoever it is. It could be the male person. It could be the person at the store that will pull them out of the ordinary. I will ask them something intimate. I will say something intimate. I will just be random because I think that in and of itself, the life performance art of pulling people out of the mundane is revolutionary. Because when we get too stuck in like the consciousness of the mundane, we get so like, we lose the magic, right?
There's a problem with that, though, because to a certain extent, you need a certain degree of conformity in order to navigate the world. You have to know that rocks hurt when you kick them and things like that. And at the same time, when you become so obsessed with a particular pattern, you've eliminated your possibility to explore outside of that.
Yeah.
It is an interesting dilemma.
Yeah, and I think that the mind is limited. It's our bodies are limitless. It's like the mind, the indeterminate and determinate causes from the philosophical perspective. I think we are told that the bodies are limited and the mind is limitless. I disagree. I think our minds limit ourselves. Our minds limit our bodies. And so when we, again, come out of like the trance of like, okay, I'm going to Monday is the same every day. You know, like that trance of just like every day, like the is just the same. When you can break free from that, then it shakes something up in your nervous system where you're like, wait a minute, why am I doing this? What am I doing? Do I have to do it like this today? Maybe I'll go a different way to work. What will happen then? And when we change like patterns, we change our loops, we change our consciousness. When something disrupts the loop, something is disruptive within the consciousness. And that's what I think stand-up is really interesting.
When I was in college,
bring it out to the world.
When I was in college, I'd drive to and from school every day. It was about a half-hour drive. And I developed 19 different routes to get home or to get to school because I just didn't want to be bored with the same thing over and over again. Okay, if I was in a hurry, I'd just go the fastest way. But through the war zone of the Central Ward of Newark. But this was right after the riots in '67, so it looked like Berlin after the bombings for a while. But
Serafina, I noticed that you were in a lot of the videos, and the thing is, you guys play off of each other a lot, and so the thing is that. Do you work together on the script, or is it one or somebody's
totally improvised?
Yeah,
Well, I am a person who really believes in lineage. Like, I grew up in a classical dance studio. I started classical ballet training when I was 3 and then was basically raised in the theater. So I have like mad respect. I don't believe in hierarchy, but I do believe in like the ancientness of mentorship and like honoring your teachers.
Mhm.
And so I relate to Tony, like, even though she is one of my best friends in the world and like my sister and my art wife, I also recognize that like she is a mentor, she is a teacher, she is a guide, she has experience and wisdom that I don't have. I didn't, study comedy really before working with Tony. Like, I did improv and I was in theater, but like Tony really was like, bitch, you can do fucking shamanic work on motherfuckers when you're in your golden years. Okay. Your ass needs to be on stage and like you're a comedian. And I had already been writing work about grape culture for many years. I did my Master of Fine Arts at Duke University, and I was like very sort of like in thinking about these themes that we make work about together. So she was like, let's write a show. And she had the download about grape culture. And then naturally that led to me coming to her house once a month, every month. I think we did that for like a full year and a half, like without a break. And we started writing grape culture together.
Wow.
And also, though, I didn't know how to write a joke. Like, I'm a funny bitch. Like, I am naturally a comedian. I'm naturally a trickster. But writing a joke and getting to the point and understanding like how to use comedy to discuss tragedy and like help people get from one place to another, like that is like Tony's mentorship and guidance. So I love writing. A lot of times we're writing together, and like it feels important to be like, Tony is like, I think one of the most important like comedians and philosophers of our time. And I really think her shit's going to blow up. Like, obviously she's already got this huge following online, but like, in addition to being a feminist, she's also a men's rights activist. Like, she truly is like an independent, middle of the road anarchist. Like, I'll say things. I'm also younger. I'm 13 years younger. So I'll say things that, in my younger body and consciousness, I'm like, and she's like, okay, well, what if we take that and we like work on it this way? Like, what if you actually don't create more separation? Because I'll go into like, I'm an anarchist, and then I'm talking about hierarchy, and I'm like, I want everyone to be accepted, and then I'm creating separation. So I really bow to the way that like there is this ancient like mentor-mentee relationship that we have in our dynamic.
I'm a little confused though. There was a term that you kept using that I'm not familiar with. I'm not sure if I got it right. So you described Tony as being a mentor. Did you actually mean mentor or mental?
Mentor.
I'm sorry. It came to mind.
She is my mental mentor. She really is. She really helps me. Tony is the person you call when you're like, I'm stuck in the illusion that I'm stuck. Like, help me move through this stuckness and understand that what I thought was a block is actually a portal to
I got you. Yeah. You're attached to a negative experience, and it's hard to let go. Well, detachment is very, very powerful, and a lot of people just don't focus on that. But the thing is that I was curious because the two of you really meld very well.
And Tony does not look 13 years older than you.
I know, right?
You guys look like you're
in person.
Sorry?
She's flawless skin. She is like the most beautiful woman alive.
By the way, do you remember? Are you old enough to remember? I'm not going to ask your age. Emu, the comedian Emu.
Yes, I do remember that person. Yes,
that's who you reminded me of the first time I saw you with the movement, because Emu used to have these weird movements that he would make on stage, and he would talk like this and that. But I mean, you're much more elegant than he is. A lot better to watch than he used to be. I don't know what happened to him.
You did this one thing where you were sitting down and you were rolling.
That's Mike had the idea of us doing that to welcome you.
And the thing is like,
we were going to do stretches first.
I said, I didn't even know a human being could do that. It was just I don't even remember what you were talking about.
You were doing yoga stretches or something. I don't know. Whether you get your head behind your leg behind your head or whatever.
You know what it reminds me of to some degree? And this is not an insult. It reminds me of like a very young girl, that just is very fidgety.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is the difference is that one movement, it just mesmerized me. I just thought it was absolutely cool.
You have been the least fidgety of the four of us today, by the way.
I know.
I know, it's so funny.
She's
I
been
do
sitting
have
there. No, she's been sitting there calmly. And, I mean, I noticed I've got all these movements. I can't sit still. Am I a Taurus or am I a Taurus
Hold on.
stung by bees?
Why don't you plug the future video that the special that you're going to be doing?
Okay, so I'm going to be doing a stand-up set in October on October 5th at Joe's Pub in New York City. And then I'm going to be releasing a stand-up special, an hour-long stand-up special that you can get on my website, TonyNaj.com. Because I've been
Let me write that down. Joe's Pub
Joe's
in
Pub,
New York City.
New York City. Tickets
I'm sorry, October 10th, you said?
5th.
October 5.
October 5. October 5.
You have to speak real slow.
Yeah, because I want to put this in the show notes. I want to put it in the show notes to help promote it.
Culture.
Are you going to be there too? No.
I am officiating a wedding actually the day before for one of my dear friends. So I'm like, I actually was just in my head like, oh yeah, I got to think about if I can get from upstate New York to Joe's Pub. Maybe. We also have Grape Culture coming up at the Rockwell in Boston on September 11th, which is interesting.
September 11th. Oh.
Yep. And then
It's going to be hard to remember that date.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then Grape Culture has a 3-day run at the Cannonball Fringe Festival. This is our 3rd Fringe Festival now we've done with Grape Culture in Philadelphia, September 26th, 27th, and 28th.
I'll tell you what. Can you get this in writing and email it to me so I can put it in the show notes? This way I'll just release the thing either late tonight or tomorrow morning, but I want to get this in there.
What is the link to your website?
Grapeculturehealing.com, and then I'm TonyNaj.com, NAGY.com. Everything is all linked to each other. They're all connected.
And I'll send all the links too.
So it's not Nagy, it's Naj.
Naj like massage. I'm Hungarian.
Oh, okay.
Hungarian?
It's very elegant. I usually use the name Salvaggio, but it's actually in Italian. It's Selvaggio.
Salvaggio.
He's a savage.
That's actually what it means in Italian.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I'm pizza, but I'm not Italian. People think I'm Italian. I'm actually half English, half Portuguese.
No, they don't.
Where are y'all
Well,
based?
you're Sicilian though. You're different.
Well, I'm half Sicilian. My father was Italian.
Half Sicilian.
Where are you based?
Yeah.
Pardon
Sorry?
me, ma'am?
Where are you based?
I'm in Eastern PA.
Okay.
I'm in New Jersey. I'm in a town called Clark.
He lines because he considers New Jersey to be an unacceptable location.
Oh, yeah. Well, you moved to Pennsylvania because of because you didn't like the gun laws.
Yeah, but
The only reason I'm still in New Jersey, I've got my sons here and my grandkids here. Otherwise, I would have been gone. I don't know. Maybe Texas, maybe Montana, maybe Florida until I got sick of the humidity. But I wouldn't be here.
Pub. You should try to be there on October 5th. Oh my, Tony would
I'm
freak
going to
out.
try because we're not that far from New York City. I'm going to see. October 5th is what day of the week? Is it a weekend?
Sunday.
well, actually, I don't need a mentor, so I don't see any reason to go.
There you go.
You're good. You don't need my influence. You
I-
don't
I-
need
well, I'll
creating
be honest with you. I'm an honest to goodness, red-blooded conservative. I don't want to go to New York City at all for anything.
I wanted to say that before. What you were saying earlier about going on stage with those 170 gun owners and so forth. I mean, that was the trepidation. The biggest trepidation Mike had was because you girls and us are probably pretty opposite, mostly politically speaking.
We thought so, but
We thought so. Now, aside from the politics, though, we've got a lot more in common than I expected, even. And
We'd probably surprise you too.
what's that?
I feel like we'd probably surprise you. We'd probably surprise each other. I feel like that's the medicine of this. It's like we're so like morally and spiritually like coherent. It really does show like the agenda of the bipartisan state.
Oh,
Right.
I've gotten along with people who were basically, let's say, liberals in the past, especially women. I mean, my ex-girlfriend, and there was one woman one time. She was She was a friend of ours. She was a lesbian friend of ours, and she and I were arguing one night about gun control, and I was feeling something that night. It was like I was like, God damn, why is Kathy here? You know. But anyway, the next morning when we came down we were staying at a friend's house, two gay guys who were hosting us, and we were coming. I was coming down to breakfast, and this other woman was coming down also, and she stopped on the stairs and looked up at me and pushed it back, and we kissed. And she was a lesbian all her life. She's not one of these who transformed. She's been a lesbian all her life. But there was something about arguing the different points that was just arousing. That's the best I can put it. And
actually,
it was weird.
A funeral can actually make you horny.
I tip my.
A funeral can make you horny because.
I'm not gonna. Well, I got made fun of because some guy said I was trying to pick somebody up at a funeral one time, and I said no, I'm not. But in my mind, I said, well, maybe I was.
Well, I tried to pick somebody up at a funeral one time, but the problem is it was very difficult getting him out of the casket.
Yes.
I knew that was coming. You get it.
Yeah, that was predictable. That's another thing about your comedy. What you said. I try and make jokes sometimes, and my timing is terrible. My sons always say, like, give me a boom, right? But the best comedy I ever come up with all the time is when I just make an off the cuff response to something, to a situation or something that was said, and then everybody cracks up. That's when I'm at my best. It just comes spontaneously. If I try, years ago, I could remember 20, 30 jokes on a topic. No problem. My mind was like a steel trap. Now it's more like a sieve. I hear something today, and tomorrow I try and remember. Oh, I can't remember, or I'll miss the punchline or something. But if it comes spontaneously, then I'm funny.
My second wife was humor challenged, and if I tried to tell her a already contrived joke,
come on, she wasn't, because if she married you, she had a great sense of humor.
Very funny. Yeah. You should. The two of you should have gotten together. But anyway, the thing is that no, she didn't like my fixed jokes. Like Rabbi come into a bar. No,
the fixed jokes.
I did impromptu, like you just said. She would laugh all the time. So the difference is between Roy and myself is the fact that Roy can't tell a joke. I can. No kidding.
You're gonna make me pull out the. You're gonna make me pull out the dad jokes. I didn't want to do that this show.
I hate those.
This is getting even for what you had. What was that jar of what?
Happy thoughts. The worst.
You had a jar of happy thoughts we had to endure for about a month. He was taking one out every show.
Put on your positive pants was one of the happy thoughts. I hated that one.
All right. Enough of your our blathering. Let's see what else the Gnarly girls have to tell us.
All right. Well, I'm going to end with one thing because I do have to go teach.
Me too. I also am going to teach.
I also have to teach, but I think that the point of these kinds of conversations, I personally believe, is that when you have conversations that kind of cross boundaries, you can A, find commonality, but B, our objective is always to break down identity and to break down the assumption of identity, because the more we can strip back how we want to identify. And I really resonated what you said before, how people hate to be wrong. And I think that the more we embrace being wrong and the less we shame people for being quote unquote wrong, the more that we'll have a more intellectually and philosophically fluid society, which I find to be a lot more interesting than the didactic confines of identity politics. And I think that's my personal mission, is to kind of to strip down these assumptions, because that is exactly what's keeping us from collaborating.
It's very difficult for me to relate to that because I'm never wrong, but go on, Mike.
When Serafina asked Roy to nutshell his experience of the world, in present state, what I would have to say is, in general, the world needs humility.
Yeah.
The world, and humility in the traditional sense of humbleness, to actually have I'm bouncing off of you, Tony, to actually have the audacity to think that one is actually possibly wrong, and that our intellect is not all mighty, and that will open up new spaces in the world.
I
Sheriff,
agree.
do you have anything to say before we go?
Yes, just that like it's also safe to be wrong in a where like which is so radical in a culture where people are so punished for that. And I think that identity politics and sort of like the group belonging mindset is because we feel so separate from the tribe, from the village, from each other. So then we're trying to find ways to connect. And then the fear of being ostracized is like so human and so real. And so, yeah, it's cool that we got to come together and talk about spirituality and shamanism and philosophy and comedy. And thank you for having us. And it was a pleasure.
Serafina,
It's been a great pleasure to meet you girls.
yes,
Speak with you
Serafina, I'd
girls.
like to agree with you on that last thing that you said, except I don't. You're wrong.
No,
Okay.
no. I was only kidding, of course, that I'm never wrong. I've changed my mind about a lot of things over the years where I had, my belief in something was in cement, and then I said, no, this is wrong, and I switched.
They have,
So I
Man
am.
that's married twice is definitely wrong.
I what?
Hey, I'm wrong enough to really. If you're wrong long enough, you will find the right.
Yes.
Okay,
You will find
ladies, I know you have to go and do your lessons, but thank you so much for coming on. We waited weeks and so forth. We weren't sure you were ever going to come on. I'm so glad that it was worth the wait. It was very worth the wait.
Yay.
You guys are fantastic. Really.
Oh,
You're great to get along with. And if you were in the same city right now, we'd be going out after your lessons for coffee or something. Okay.
heck yeah.
No.
A good Italian dinner.
No. Fine by me too. I can eat.
Together.
Okay. Well,
thanks, y'all.
I hope you folks have enjoyed this episode of The View from Here, Behind Enemy Lines. And we can see that sometimes the enemy is not really the enemy. They are.
We are the enemy.
These ladies were a great pleasure to talk to. I think this might be the most fun we've had in any of our episodes, I think. And so we're going to say goodnight. And ladies, please don't hang up until I get it all uploaded.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So long. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, not leave. No, stop.